Here it is, guys.
He needs some milk.
That's a good one. We're looking at our computers as we get ready to start the show because so much has happened this afternoon. We're sitting here thinking, what else is going to pop up before we are even ready for it? We'll get into all that. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. Starts right now. Got a lot to talk about. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show as we get you ready for tonight's game between the Dallas Stars and the Washington Capitals. Craig Ludwig is here. I'm here. We're going to say hi to Sam in just a second. Ryan Vaughters is our producer, as always. But before we get into all that, let's talk about the Face-Off collection. Brand new T-shirts that dropped, I think it was the end of last week. Look at those two shirts. We have made significant progress, Luds, because our GM, Ben, who said 25 shirts, if we can get them, if people buy 25 shirts, we'll get a free one this week. I believe we are around 15 to go or so, or maybe a little less. Now, the more people that wear those, Lutz will tell you a little bit later about why that's important. We have a lot to get to, so let's say hi to Sam Nessler over at the American Airlines Center live, which has been the focal point of a bunch of stuff today, Sam. We have hockey news, we have contract news, we have legal news. We're going to get into a lot more of all of that tomorrow on our show at 2 o'clock Central Time. But let's get some quick hits of what...
I think the focal point should be who is his barber.
Yep, he did go high and tight today.
Boy.
And that wasn't
right
like
down
that
to
at
the
morning
wood.
skate. So this was an afternoon affair.
Oh yeah, I had got a workout in and then had to get fixed up for tonight. But yeah, we had some news going on today. A lot going on. The Mavericks filing a lawsuit against the Stars for all of their arena stuff. The Stars are allegedly looking at Plano as a potential, I think, $1 billion arena to build after their lease runs out here. And
reportedly
then
at the shops at Willow Bend.
Reportedly, yes. But the biggest news, I believe, or at least to me, Thomas Harley and the Dallas Stars closing in on an 8-year contract extension worth around $10.5 million AAV, which the first thing comes off, as Owen mentioned, it's a good thing for us to have a show tomorrow because we have a lot to talk about. We cannot do it right now before this game. But the key thing for me is, one, it signs Harley for 8 years, which we weren't sure if they were going to be able to make that happen, right? We were worried it might be a bridge deal again with the cap going up and all the Stars being so tight to the cap. But for 8 years, right around what Evan Bouchard signed 4 years for Edmonton. The key thing that I took away when I looked at the Stars' salary cap situation after this deal is getting finalized, they're going to have their guys sign Mikko Rantanen, Roope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, Jake Oettinger, Miro Heiskanen, Matthew Shane, now Thomas Harley through 2029 or 2030. That's a lot of your team. As soon as they get Jason Robertson locked up for whatever it is, this team opened their window. Not that it was not expected to be, but you look at it now, man, that window is open for quite a while with the lineup they have.
Floods, we'll get into a full segment about Harley's contract on our show tomorrow, but just the instant reaction from you on that number and the 8-year term for him.
Taking out the first 4 or 5 games this year.
Yes.
I think in 3 years from now, that's going to be a bargain for Dallas. I mean, he continues to go that way. He makes a difference in his speed, his shot, most importantly. Can his defense be better? Of course, everybody's can be better. But I just think his trajectory is pointing north. And so you just hope that all those guys that you mentioned, they all stay healthy. And I think, and I kind of look at Wyatt and I'm going, man, Wyatt keeps on going. He's going to be a little bent out of shape that he didn't get a little bit more. That's what I'm thinking.
Great deal. But
yep.
hey, speaking of Wyatt,
we thought I was concerned. Remember being above Miro. I didn't know how that would play out, right? And so, again, we're splitting hairs, I guess, when it comes to
$2 million, $9
something here and 8 something, 10, whatever it is. So, but I think that's about right. Now, as you see Thomas and you see Miro, Thomas brings something for me a little bit that maybe Miro doesn't do exactly all the time, and vice versa. So they're very comparable.
Speaking of Wyatt Johnston, you had a big question mark. You wanted to know on the 2-on-1 goal he scored the other night with Jason Robertson, was he trying to pass?
I didn't ask any questions.
No, you wanted to know on our show. We were talking about it. You suspected he might have been trying to pass it back to Jason.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask Sam, because Sam got a chance to ask him today.
Okay, go ahead, Sam. What did he say?
Yeah, I talked to Wyatt for like 15 minutes about this, about 2-on-1s in general. But Wyatt said that he actually was not trying to pass that puck. However, he was also not trying to do what he did. He said he got jammed up by the pass a little bit. And so he just thought, I'm going to put it towards the goalie's pad, and either it's going to go in or Robertson's going to come down the backside and it'll create some sort of rebound. So he was not trying to go extra pass across to Jason Robertson, but he also was not trying to make that very nifty move to the 5-hole. He should have just said that, because I thought it was just such a filthy move that he should have just lied and told me he was going for it. However, that also led to a longer conversation about 2-on-1s in general. And he actually said that one, he probably made a mistake opening up with his hips, because if you look at the replay of it, the back checker the puck goes under the back checker's stick. So he actually doesn't open the passing lane. He said he should have stayed on the backhand and allowed Robo to either move it quickly or to go further down the wing and try to get it across to him. But long 2-on-1 conversation that I'm sure I will write about more. That was really fun. He, like I said about Wyatt before, when you get into the details and the actual hockey plays, he'll talk to you forever. That's the only way to get stuff out of number 53. But I just thought that was interesting to follow up with you, Luds. He told me to let you know he was not trying to pass to Jason Robertson.
Well, the good thing is he has the bad habit of just scoring even when he's not trying to score. So you can live with that. And the other thing is, I do believe that he did make the right play. It would have gotten there if Robo would have made a quicker play. Robo hung on to it a little bit. And Wyatt did the right thing. He opened up a good passing lane there. So anyways, it all worked out well.
Sam, did you get a chance to ask him about Logan Stankoven coming back to Dallas on Saturday? Because obviously Wyatt and Logan, young age, not far apart and somewhat close when they were playing here.
Yep, I asked him. I think I said it on the pregame show that night as well, but they were supposed to get dinner. Him, Maverick Bork, I can't remember exactly, Bishel maybe, a couple other guys, and a couple of Stars guys had something else come up. So they're going to do it in Raleigh, January 6th. But the interesting part about Wyatt, he said all the things you would expect, right? He misses Logan every day. He loves that he's having success. It was cool to see him, weird to see him. He mentioned that I have to look to see if the stats against each other, but he said that he saw Logan doing faceoffs in morning skate. I'm wondering if he saw me posting the video of it, but
probably.
He said he saw him working the draws, and he was saying that going against him in the game was interesting. So I got to look back and see how many draws they took against each other. But the most interesting part I took away was Wyatt was straight up very honest about how he's very happy that Logan's on a winning team. He was like, look, it's one thing for a young player. Some young players get stuck on rebuild teams, right? It's especially when you get drafted because of that team being where they are. Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, great examples of that. But Logan was a different kind of place where he was just starting to find his footing, right? So for someone to finally get to where he was, have success, really start to have success in the NHL, and then just get thrown to a San Jose Sharks or someone that's not going to win for quite a while, it really would have sucked to see as someone who wants Logan Stankoven to have success. So Wyatt was really excited that he's on a team that's not only winning, but has a chance to win the Stanley Cup. And after that conversation, I kind of looked at him and he said, yeah, maybe one day we'll see him in the Stanley Cup final and get a really big matchup with the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's just good to see that camaraderie, as Luds always talks about, it doesn't go away even when those guys get traded.
Yeah, maybe even this year. But Sam, let's talk about what topic we thought we were going to lead with before all this happened was the injuries continue to pile up for the Dallas Stars, as Oskar Bäck is the latest to come off of the IR, play a game, score a big goal, and not be available for tonight's game.
Yeah, I wish we had a video camera on me, you, and Robert and the other media when Glenn Gollison walked out of the press conference, because all of us are staring at our phones like, I don't know what to tweet or write. I'm trying to process everything he just said, because it's nonstop with this team. I mean, Roope Hintz, Matthew Shane, still day to day. However, didn't sound very positive either. He said it might be a little bit of time before we see those two. So that's more of a, I'd consider closer to week to week, or at least a week before we're going to see those guys. Oskar Bäck, as you mentioned, he comes back from, we never found out his injury, but he was wearing a wrist brace. So the assumption is some sort of hand wrist
Something with
injury
the
that he was
wrist.
dealing
Yep.
with. He comes back, as you mentioned, plays a great game, scores a great goal. Luds gives him the star of the week. And apparently now he's dealing with something else. Glenn Gulletson didn't say it wasn't at all related, but he did say it wasn't the same thing that he was dealing with before. So Oskar Bäck now day to day. We're looking at probably an 11-7 lineup here with Kyle Capobianco, Copacabana, as Loves love to call him, coming into the lineup tonight. Because the only other way is they would have had to call someone up today. He would have had to probably send Capobianco down, call up Archie Hoover or someone like that, and that has not happened. So expectation is that the top two lines will stay the same as they were with Robo, Johnston, and Bork, Tyler Seguin in between Steele and Rantanen. And then the fourth line was Faksa and Bastian, and Robertson was skating on that line as a second time
Yeah, he'll
through.
get
So
some
that's
more shifts
expected.
in that.
Yeah, that's expected to be the open wing, I guess, of the four lines. I'm sure we'll see plenty of blending, and then the pairs will be the same with Capobianco now as the extra. So just no dull days here in Stars Land.
And just to put a bow on this by going full circle back to Thomas Harley, Sam, he didn't participate in the morning skate today, which is probably why they didn't send Capobianco down for a forward.
Yeah, so he's dealing with something as well. He's expected to play tonight. I'm assuming he'll take warm up just to make sure that he's good to go. But like I said, they don't have a lot of options. So if they can't go 11-7, they're going 11-6. It's just that's how it works, right? So it's not a good situation right now with all the injuries piling up. Harley, as you mentioned, came out, did his little stick handling and his flip flops on the ice, and then didn't come out for skate. So seems like everybody's battling it. I don't know if it has anything to do with his sickness that he was dealing with a little while ago, but this team needs to get through this. I'm just thankful that it's happening at game 10 instead of game 70.
All right, Sam, great stuff. We'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow with all those headlines you brought up. We'll get to that. We'll, of course, talk to you again on the postgame show. Thank you very much.
All right, see you, boys.
All right, there he goes. Luds, that's a lot to digest in one pregame hit. Harley's contract, and again, save your Super Chat stuff. We'll get into all of that tomorrow. We're going to talk about Thomas Harley contract extension. We're going to talk about the arena lawsuit between the Stars and the Mavericks. Now the Stars getting a little bit more specific with saying that they're looking at the shops at Willow Bend by the tollway as part of their Plano arena possibility, all that stuff. We'll get to it. So let's talk about injuries. Oskar Bäck comes back in the lineup. I know he's not a top six guy, but he scores a really nice goal on a very nifty little deflection, raising a foot. You did a breakdown of it in the postgame, and now he's right back on the shelf. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be, but as Sam said, Gully said, even though both Hintz and Duchene are day-to-day, probably a little bit more than that. That is a less than encouraging sign when you have, and Gully even said this, 3 players in your top 9 out of the lineup right now.
This is why the details of the defensive zone and everything that they're trying to implement right now become so important because of times like this. And fortunate that they're happening now, and hopefully they go away, as Sam said, before you get to playoff time. But, now is the time that you dumb your game down a little bit, and you try not to create offensive opportunities that are going to lead to opportunities going the other way. And so you want to play more of a territorial game and lean a little bit on your power play. Even, obviously you've got a couple of guys out of that too, but their power play has been well. And I think what they're doing there is it's a little bit more direct. We're seeing pucks get to the net. So, I think you have to kind of weather the storm, but at the end of the day, now what it's doing, it's giving guys like Ritzkovian and Adam Ernie, and it's giving them more opportunity to be able to put on display what they can do and earn a spot and hopefully stay here for them.
Well, it's funny you say that because here's Glenn Gulletson talking about the injuries and what they have to do with their current lineup.
Yeah, well, it comes down to your forwards. We're not going to give them a break. They've got to keep things tight, and with the injuries we have right now, we've got to grind out points. We got to grind out points in every game, and that's not by playing wide open. That's not the way we're going to do it. We've got basically 3 of our top 9 guys out. So we've got to find ways to manufacture points, and that's playing good defensively, and puts onus on the forwards certainly to help the D.
I like the first line. It comes down to the forwards. In other words, be accountable. Don't turn pucks over at the blue lines. And the key is you get pucks out at your blue line and you get pucks in at their blue line. And so, in other words, it all results to territorially down there, but more importantly, less time in your own zone, especially when we're still trying to work through things. And so that'll be the conversation. I mean, we want you guys to use your creativity, use your skill and things like that, but you just have to recognize the proper situations. The good news is like, I know Beck isn't in tonight, but when you have the Becks and the Steels and Blackie and Ernie and Raskovian, those guys know that they have to take care of the blue lines and they have to be good there. Otherwise, that's how their minutes get taken away from them. Minutes, especially in close games and games when you're trailing, you know what I mean? So they want to keep those games close and they want to do the right things. But again, that also means that even Mikko Rantanen, he has to make the right play at the right time too, which he generally does.
Well, we have a lot more. We have stuff from Gulletson. I have stuff from Spencer Carberry. We've got some big news from the grade 8s, all that stuff coming up here on the DLS Stars Pregame Show.
You know what time it is?
I know what time it is.
It's 5K season in DFW.
Nope, not that yet.
Oh, not?
Nope, this
is it DLS right now?
Yes, because that's post-game show.
Well, it was the first thing on my sheet. I was all prepared for
You were ready.
The 5K run. Oh, we're going to talk about the shirts, or I'm going to end up buying beer. Okay, well, here are the new the new babies on display. The Dallas shirt we love because the green one and everything else, and of course our Dallas Stars. We believe that's either a star or an A. But here's the key to this whole thing: if these shirts get bought and they get wore to our little Hooters party, Lud's opened up his mouth and he will be buying the beer for the people that are displaying these shirts. And I think we got to get to 25. And unfortunately, we're somewhere around 18 or 19, isn't that?
No, according to last night, we were down to about 15 or 16. So,
okay. So I got a little window there, 3 or 4.
Yeah, you guys are helping us out.
What's the date on this event?
December 7th.
December 7th. Oh, we got way too much time.
Way too much time.
Okay. But anyway, they're cool shirts. And if you guys do buy enough, I'll buy the beer, I guess, for everybody because at least we won't have to buy a shirt. It sounds like. We don't know that yet.
Let me talk
I don't know if that's a fact.
Well, you're the one that said you'd buy them the beer, so if they're wearing the shirt. Okay, more on that to come. If you're a Supporters Club member already, I don't know if you've checked out the new video that we dropped, the special Supporters Club behind the scenes Halloween content, but Ryan, our producer, and I went around and polled the other hosts that were here on Sunday, the Cowboys show, the Mavs, and of course the Stars, about Halloween candy, about costumes, about horror movies. And if you haven't
where is this thing being played?
On if you're a Supporters Club, it's on YouTube, but you have to be a members of it. If you haven't signed up already, sign up now and check out this video because it's hilarious.
Parts of it is rated R.
Did you see the end of it? Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. Okay. I don't know I don't know how to get to it.
I will show you after the show. Luds is our closer, and it is uncensored. So if you want to see a pretty funny Craig Ludwig uncensored bit, you got to sign up to be a Supporters Club member and find that video on our YouTube channel.
Speaking of closers, I don't think the Blue Jays had the right closer in last night.
Oh, it went a little deep into the night, didn't it?
It was like 2-ish.
Yeah.
1:30.
All right, let's talk about defense for a minute because Gully said they're going to have to grind out points. But we also said that we think that we've seen some improvement. So we asked I asked Gully, are you trending in the right direction? Are you happy with the way things are going? Here's what he said.
Yeah, no, that's the way we need to go, right? If you want to be a great team, you've got to be one of the top defending teams. That's just the way it is every year after year. Go back 20 years, it's just the way it is. So we have to be that. And, I said there's going to be some volatility at the start of the year, but you can see us settling into a defensive game, being able to play in these tight games. And then, it's the race to 3, right? So you got to be able to keep it between the lines, and we're doing a much better job of controlling that aspect now.
What's Ryan pointing at me for?
He just wants to make sure we're aware that in 5 seconds the video's done.
Oh.
Race to 3. That's the quote that Lud's leaning on. Yep.
It's always there. That's what it is. Gully doesn't know that 3-2 league is about 15 years ago. It's a little bit 4-3. But I like the concept because what he's saying is we want to give up 2 or less. You give up 2 or less in this league, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. So, but no, I mean, everything that I said before, I mean, as long as he has to sell this to these guys. And more importantly, you have to sell it to the skilled guys that you can still get your points. You can still get your goals. We just got to play good defense, especially at this time with a few guys missing right now. And at the end of the day, again, the old line used to be offense wins games and defense wins championships.
Yep.
And so what you're working towards, you're working to game 83 at the start of the playoffs. We're going to have all this kind of stuff in order. So when we get in there, and now not only that, you have a really good goaltender. You have two good goaltenders, but you have Jake Oettinger. And so if you do things the way you're supposed to in your own zone, you're going to make life a lot easier for Jake.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it with the lineup they're dealing with. So let's take a look at the Stars forward group, which, as we told you about with Sam, is going to be probably 11. And you know what we laughed about today, Luds, was, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have Brendan Smith around so you could plug and play forward and D. And I still submit this, and I know he made a very public comments last year that that Pete wasn't communicating and talking to him. Everything was going through Elaine Nasruddin. But I feel like Brendan Smith would be a guy that Glenn Gulletson would really value on this team for these types of reasons, because he was actually pretty good when he played forward, and he was fine when he needed to play in those defensive spots. What are you going to see with not 4 lines of forwards? Do you think Gully's going to use his group?
I can see him juggling here, and it'll be interesting to see what he does with Fox and Bastian. I mean, obviously, he's going to have to get those guys minutes because he just can't roll these 9 guys out here all the time. So, I mean, it's definitely plug and play, and I can see where Tyler can come down there. Sam Steele will probably pop down there. You might even take Robo and throw him up on that line with Sagan and Rantanen if they need a little bit more punch.
Could you throw Rantanen on a shift with Fox and Bastian?
I think you can throw anybody over there. And again, the good news is you're at home. You have last change, so he can dictate things a little bit better. They get the face-offs. I can see him popping Ernie around, and Blackwell can play over there. But I think that, again, I'm not a big fan of this format. I'm a traditional guy. Edmonton seemed to like it at times. There's a couple other teams that seem to like it, but I'm not a big fan. And the other thing is, if Brendan Smith was here, maybe Bastian wouldn't be here though.
That's very true.
So
very true.
But anyway, so this might be a choppy kind of game. You know what I mean? It might not be as exciting, and I think for the coaches in the Dallas room, they don't want it to be exciting.
I'm going to come back to that because I have a Spencer Carberry comment on that exact thing, but I want to show you the D and talk about Stars defense. So there's Kyle Capobianco. I would expect that he probably is the 7, but they'll probably rotate. As you've said many times, and I've talked to a ton of other defensemen in my day, nobody seems to like 7. They'd rather play with 5 than 7.
Yeah, and again, Petrovic last year was kind of that guy, and he would get 4 or 5 minutes. He wouldn't get a lot of shifts in a row, and so I felt bad for him because you're out there trying to play in the flow of the game. So, if it'll be interesting. I mean, if Coco Cabano there gets in, every other time, it's difficult for him too.
Yep, it is.
And he's here to make a good impression. And so, but I'm sure Elaine's talking to him and telling him exactly what they're looking for. Move the puck, make the play that's right there. Be straight. Your position is huge against, again, some of these guys here that you're playing against tonight in the Washington Capitals. The good news is Dylan Strome's not here.
Well,
that's good because that might take a little bit away from, that guy that's trying to hit 900.
Let's show the Caps lines. You led me right into it. No Dylan Strome, who is their top line center, and so Connor McMichael is up instead playing on the top line with Alex Ovechkin and young Ryan Leonard, who is a burgeoning young star for them.
Isn't it funny how if you're the superstar guy or the guy that's the headline guy, that's not their top line, though. I don't care what anybody says. That second line is your top line. So, but, because, again, now they're going to have to deal with Wilson and that kind of stuff. And Protas, obviously, he's a big body.
Huge body.
But where they really miss Strome for me is on offensive zone faceoffs with Ovechkin. I've seen him win so many faceoffs and Ovechkin right to the spot where Ovechkin is. And Ovi's trying to get to that 900, so he's hoping he gets back soon too, though. But again, they're going to have to deal with Tom Wilson running around. And Tom Wilson is not a dirty player. He's just a hard, heavy guy. And so they're going to have to be able to match that.
Wouldn't you expect the Lindell-Heiskanen pairing out a lot for that? Against the Pierre-Luc Dubois line?
I mean, I'm okay with it against them because Miro's playing the offside. Essa can absorb Wilson more, I think. coming down the right side of the ice on Miro's left side. And the other thing is I would think that Nasreddine would maybe try to get Leon out there a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be a good.
Check this out, because somebody asked Gully this morning about the play of that pairing, Lindell and Heiskanen so far this season.
If you go through the last game, just how much they're playing in people's face, just their gap and their in not as much in the rush, but keeping plays alive in the O-zone and breaking the puck out. So, all those things when a D's, transitioning well and breaking out well and holding lines, they tend to, and they're two great players. So you see the analytics go up. So they've played very well, and hopefully I don't think we've seen the top end of it either. So I hope I think they can still push. But yeah, two great players.
See, what I think is important with that pairing is more about Miro. Miro knows how good Esa is in playing outnumbered rushes, playing in his end, that it frees him up a little bit. And I think Miro's been trying to be a better defensive guy, and rightfully so, being the way that he skates and offensively minded. But when you play with someone like that, because if Miro plays with Harley, Thomas is, he's in the middle. He's in the middle of Miro and Esa for me. Esa is just defensively responsible, plays 99% of the time. He makes the right plays in the right spot of the ice. Thomas can get a little loose, right? So if Esa plays with either one of those guys, I think they have a little freedom, knowing that he's back there.
Well, then the question is, how do you play against Alex Ovechkin, the best goal scorer that the NHL has ever seen? As far as
you don't take penalties, I'll just answer that question.
Well, here's what Gully had to say about it, and then we'll look at all those numbers again.
He's just so dangerous, right? Like, you just watch some of the goals he scored. We was watching their game against Columbus, and right off the face-off, it doesn't take him much to score. And I think people have been trying to figure this out for many years, but no one quite has. He's certainly got it figured out. But special player, very, very special. We all know that.
All right, let's.
Okay, wait a second. Was the question, how do you play against Ovechkin?
Yeah.
He didn't answer it.
No.
He didn't say anything.
No.
He just said how good he is.
He said, yeah, special player.
Oh, well, I didn't hear an answer.
Well, here's the reason why you have to be worried about Alex Ovechkin is the first and high ranking and so many things, goals. This is career NHL numbers, right? Most goals, he has one more to get to 900. Nobody's ever gotten to that, right? He passed Gretzky at the end of last year. He leads in power play goals and shots, overtime goals, game winners. I mean, this guy knows how to put the puck in the net.
If he had 60 some more goals on the power play, he would be close to 50% of his goals are in the power play. So that's what you have to be careful about. And over Ovi's entire career, like, we've all had ideas how you take him away. You overplay him. You use this system. You use that system. It doesn't matter. He still scores. And talking to Albie, who knows him very well, Alan May, used to be here in Dallas Stars, now does some TV with the Caps. They all talk about his stick, and it's the curve of his stick, because when he hits a puck, it does something. It moves a certain way. And you talk to goaltenders, they're like, you can't catch up to it. When you think it's here, it's here. So a lot of it has to do, obviously, he can get the puck off, but when he hits it, the puck flutters or it moves or it shape shifts. I don't know what it's called, but that has a lot to do with it. So the way you can solve that is have a defenseman that isn't super smart and stand in front of that shot and go down. That to me, I would get close and I'd go down every single time, and at least my goaltender knows it's gonna be probably, if it's going in, it's gonna be about 2 to 3 feet off the ice, and that's where it's going up there.
Well, Luds, I just got a message from our GM Ben, but he bought another shirt, so we're one closer to the crown. The lines that Sam just tweeted out for warm-up, exactly what we saw. So Fox Sebastian, fourth line, just the two of them. Capobianco looking like the seventh. All right, now here's the goalie matchup for tonight. We're running out of time, but we have a lot still to get to. Jake Oettinger versus Logan Thompson. And as you can see, the win-loss record, very good for both. But the stats, because of some early season stuff for Jake, he's still playing catch-up to get those numbers back to what we expect to see from him.
Hey, league average right now for goals, the saves, 896. We're not far off. It's not just Jake. It's going on around the league because there's injuries and systems, and it's early, and guys aren't where they're supposed to be. I mean, what's impressive is
938.
That's impressive. 5-1. So
Show everybody what Jake is in his career against the Washington Capitals. They have nightmares about Jake Oettinger. He's 5 for 5 when he starts against the Caps with sparkling numbers.
Probably need to be that way tonight too.
Well, I want you to hear a couple things from Spencer Carberry. Here's the head coach of the Washington Capitals, and he's a really interesting guy because, remember, he got hired a couple years ago. Young team, they weren't very good last year, but they snuck into the playoffs. Last year, they were phenomenal, best team record-wise in the East. He's turned them around fast. He spoke about what he has to do with Dylan Strome out of the lineup, and I thought you'd be interested in this comment.
Honestly, folks, we just need strong, reliable minutes from those two lines. I know it's a little bit of a different flavor with Mikey O and Leno, which, I'll tend to deploy offensive zone situations, try to get them in some advantageous situations offensively to utilize, their skill sets. But from Lap's line and from Mikey, for that matter, because I can promise you this, they're probably going to look for some matchups to try to get Rantanen and those guys against Mikey. And they're going to look at the lineup and go, okay, Leonard, let's go after that line defensively. And so they're going to have to be able to hold their own. It doesn't mean they're going to win every shift, but they're going to have to be able to try to get out of those situations even and control some shifts in the offensive zone when they're out against Robertson or Rantanen or Wyatt Johnston. So we just need a strong, 200-foot, well-rounded, reliable game from our whole group, and those two lines are no different.
In case you were curious, Mikey, he's talking about Ovechkin, McMichael, and Leonard. That's that line that you said, Luds. Probably just because Ovechkin's on it doesn't mean it's their top line. And he knows that the Stars think that is a susceptible line to attack.
Well, it should, because 5-on-5, Ovi can't keep up like most guys can.
Not like he used to.
Not like he used to, and he's not a freight train like he used to be either. And Leonard's only 20 years old, and he's only played a few games, came in at playoff time last year. He seems to be getting a little bit better. He's got a couple goals earlier this year. So, yeah, I would be trying to get that's my thing is I would be trying to get Rantanen, and frankly, I'd be trying to get Wyatt, Rantanen, and Robo out there.
Yep.
That's what I'd be trying to do. I would try to get out there as much as I can against those guys. And he could try to get them out against fourth line too, but I think having a couple of young guys in there, Leonard, and being able to play against them, and the lack of speed from Ovechkin.
Unfortunately, I have two other quotes I wanted you to hear from Carberry about defensive structure and creating offensive out of that. But we're out of time, and we've got a super chat. So let's hit that super chat. So Mick Clark with a Kyle Capobianco and Year After the Cup. Does Ovi hit 1,000? I'm assuming
he's got to get the 900 first.
Well, that would be 101 more goals.
Yeah,
I don't think Ovechkin plays that many years. This might be it.
It sounds like this is his last year. So, but again, he gets the 920, 930 or something like that this year. He may go, I don't know, a year or two I can hit 1,000. I don't think he's going to play that long.
I don't either.
I think Putin wants him there to play on his team in Russia. So I think he's done and within a year or two.
Well, we'll find out. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about tomorrow on the show. We'll have our full post-game show. But Harley extension, if that becomes official, we'll talk about it. We're definitely going to get into it tomorrow. The lawsuit with the Mavs and the Stars, business side, all of that. More and more to come on our show tomorrow. But we've got a Capitals Stars game tonight. Should be a fun one. We'll talk to you right after the game, right here on DLLS.
We all silly like the mayor.